hour and a half maybe. Train track's working again.
Jerry Beth, can you hear me okay? All right, very good.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah. Give it a few more minutes and then we'll get started.
Listen to me, they cannot see you.
All right, 6:03. We'll go ahead and open up. Everybody can hear me okay? We I plan to have Pastor Tim Ward on here, and I don't see him tonight, so he's probably having some issues with the Zoom application. And I don't know if Ephraim's logged in yet. I'm not seeing him on the application, so I'm going to go ahead and open us up with an invocation if that's okay with everybody. So if you would, just bow your heads. Heavenly Father, we're grateful for this opportunity to come together. And we ask that you lead us and you guide us through these decisions for the best interest of our community. That you put your hand of blessing on us, Lord. Watch over us and protect us. We're thankful for everything that you give us and guide us always. In your name we ask and pray. Amen. Jerry Beth, if you would, please call the roll. You're mute. I'm going to unmute you. There you go.
Mayor,
Here.
Mr. Philip Powell,
Here.
Mrs. Stewart. Here. Mr. Cordell,
Here.
Mrs. Bridges,
Here.
Mrs. Elmore, Mrs. Elmore, okay. Mr. Rod Miles,
Here.
Mr. Jones, Mr. Hatton, I see him.
Here.
Let's go.
Okay.
Mr. Florence,
Here.
Mr. Butler.
Here.
Okay, I just want to make sure, is Mrs. Elmore on? Okay, and what about Mr. Jones?
He's getting on now.
Okay. All right, we have a quorum.
All right, apologies. I got muted. I don't know what you guys heard, so I'll say it again. The meeting minutes were made available in the packet that was sent out last week on a Thursday through a Google link. And if everybody's had an opportunity to review them, I'll take a motion to approve October 12th regular meeting minutes.
So moved, Coy Butler.
Second, Cordell.
Motion's made by Coy Butler and seconded by Matt Cordell. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 And don't forget to unmute. Any opposed? All right. Motion passes. We don't have any public comments tonight, and I think we're going to bypass the executive report. So we're going to go straight to economic development report. Gene Eagle's with us tonight. So the floor is yours, sir. Gene, are you still with us? Okay. Well, looks like he's not in here with us, so we're gonna move on. Next on the agenda is Parks and Mosquito Rodon. Can you hear
I
me?
see Gene there.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Mayor?
I can. It looks like Gene's back with us. Gene, are you up?
Yes, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you good.
Okay, great. Just quickly, before I lose my connection again, I wanted to mention a few things. We're working on our comprehensive economic development plan for the city. To report that Mayor Reed, Dr. John Tacken, and I met with the new plant manager of the Remington ammunition plant on November 4th. Probably one of the bigger important items that we can work on is developing that relationship with that new purchaser of that plant. And I won't speak for the mayor or Dr. Tackett, but I thought it went very well for the managers there to hear about the vision of the Lone Oak Business Academy and the work that our school is doing for preparation of our children to be ready to get a job once they get out of high school. I also had a telephonic meeting with the Metro Little Rock Alliance and continue to work with the real estate professionals here in Lone Oak on obtaining an option on a piece of real estate. A lot of work has been spent working on a small business development plan for the city to put together something that it will be a resource for the people that live here. And it started with the Conductor, which is a regional entrepreneurship organization that started in Conway. They have one in Fayetteville that started in Conway, and we've signed up to be a part of it. So I've been participating in a meeting with them, been invited to participate in what's called the Coalition to Advance Arkansas Entrepreneurship, and found that those meetings were really fruitful. And through that, we've established relationships with other nonprofits. Communities Unlimited, it's an organization that's been around for 30 years. The individuals I've worked with them for that long. And then the Arkansas Small Business Technology Development Center. It's a government-sponsored organization that's housed at UALR. Then Forge is another nonprofit that serves Lone Oak County. So that's just briefly some of the things that I've been working on. I'll be happy to take any questions. I participated with a group of citizens in looking at the energy conservation project as well.
Are there any questions for Gene? All right, Gene, thank you very much. Appreciate the presentation.
You're welcome.
All right, next on the list, Parks and Recreation. Roy Don, you got it, sir.
Yes, well, I just got a couple of things tonight. City Council asked me to have drawings for the landscape out here at the ballpark. Is there any questions about the drawings that we put in there? One was done by Pierce, works out here. Another one was drawn is by the East Lab. Pierce shows the blocks and everything, and there's other pictures in there also. If you have any questions, we'll be able to answer them.
Does anybody in the council have anything for Roy Don?
Roy Don, this is Ryan. Thank you for providing these drawings. It's a good illustration to help with what we've been discussing. I appreciate that.
We need a motion to move forward on that.
Well, so just to be clear, Roy Don, do you want to talk about the cameras first, or you want to get a motion on the planter beds?
Well, let's go ahead and do the planter beds first, and then we'll go.
Okay.
All right, I'll make that motion.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second, this is Ryan.
All right, motion's made by Michael Florence, seconded by Ryan Bowles. Any discussion, any questions about what's been presented, what the beds are going to look like?
Well, don't we have two bids? Can we go ahead and pick one of them and add that in the motion?
Yeah, the price was one from Mark Roberts for $4,200, and I don't have the other one in front of me. It was from a guy that built the concession stand. That's from Stuttgart.
It's for $5,075. Yeah. So the other
$5,075.
Okay, the other quote was from Andrew Griffin Masonry for $5,075. And then there's a quote from Roberts Masonry for $4,200.
I'll modify my motion to include Roberts Masonry.
Okay, so I got a motion to approve the $4,200 bid. Do I have a second for that still?
Yes, it's Ryan. I'll reiterate my second.
Thank you. All right, any discussion? Any questions about it? All right, don't forget to unmute, please. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. All right, back up to point A for security camera proposals.
I'm gonna let Pierce take over this right here. He's been doing the research on this and everything.
So I came up with 3 options. I had Ring security system, and then a Nest security system, and then one from Sam's. It's a Night Owl security system. Basically, the Ring security and Nest security are almost identical. I know the Nest, the monthly fee is $12 a month or $120 a year. That's to get, let's see, 60-day event history plus 10-day 24/7 video history, and then you can download and share videos or pictures if we need to send it to the police or whatever. And then Ring is $10 a month or $100 a year, and it also had the 60-day history. As far as the actual camera goes, field of view, they're almost identical. I think Ring has 140 degree, and then Nest is 130 degree field of view. And they both have built-in spotlights. What else?
All 3 of them.
Well, I'm gonna get to Night Owl in a minute. And then I think Ring also has an alarm, a built-in alarm as well. So it's like a 110 decibel alarm that'll go off when the lights come on, kind of deter people from coming up. And then your Night Owl system is a totally hardwired system. Everything's in-house. It hooks up to a DVR and a TV. It has 4K video with 100-foot night vision. And the only thing about it is the 85-degree field of view. But with these, you have more capability of turning the cameras exactly where you want. So that shouldn't be much of an issue. And on the DVR, it's a 2 terabyte hard drive, so it's got a lot of memory, a lot of space, and you can go up to 12 cameras with it because it's a 12-channel DVR. But like I said, this one's totally hardwired. Everything's hooked up to power, and then it all runs to the hard drive. As for the Nest and Ring, these are pretty much wireless other than power. They hook up to power supply, but everything's wireless, cloud storage, everything like that. So we also talked to Nicholas and Ron at Nicholson Electric. He gave us a couple quotes for 2 different systems. He did one for Nest, which would also be the same for Ring. He included the buying the cameras themselves and installing them with power and everything. And it came up to a little over $2,300. And then for the Night Owl system, he doesn't buy the system for us. We'd have to buy it from Sam's, but it was $1,700. And that also included a locking cabinet for the DVR so we could set it up in the concession stand and have it all right there for us and keep it locked up so no one can get in there without the key.
That's about it, Mayor.
All right, so say again, Pierce, which one are you recommending?
I'd recommend the Night Owl personally, and then Ron also recommended that one. This for the Night Owl system, it does run on Wi-Fi, but only the hard drive runs on Wi-Fi, and that's to get the notifications to your cell phone. So if Wi-Fi does go out, the system continues running. It just doesn't notify you, but it'll still be on the DVR. As for Nest and Ring, if the internet goes out, it kind of takes them out. So that's just what I would think would be the best, is the Night Owl system with it being totally hardwired.
This is Matt Cordell with Pierce's recommendation and the fact that there's not a monthly fee moving forward we have to worry about, I move that we go with the Night Owl system installed by Nicholson.
Second,
I got,
Alice.
I got a motion by Matt Cordell, seconded by Alice Bridges. Any further discussion? Are there any questions on it?
I have a question. Since we have to purchase the cameras for the Night Owl system, what was the cost of the cameras? Which
Yes, ma'am.
cameras will we be getting?
It's called the Night Owl system, security system. It's a 6-camera, 12-channel system with a 2 terabyte hard drive. And at Sam's, it was $399, not including tax.
I think it's on page 11 in our packet, Miss Alice.
Page 11?
My
Okay.
PDF counter saying page 11.
I've got a printout, so I don't have that,
Okay.
but that's fine. It's still less than the other one.
Yes, and without the monthly fee. So,
Right.
and like I said, it does still send you the notifications and everything as long as it's hooked up to Wi-Fi, so you can still get text alerts.
We will have part.
Any other questions?
I do. I have one. So we're going to go with the Night Owl security system, but Nicholson will be doing the labor and putting it in. So it's also going to include that 170555, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Just making sure I understood.
I got a motion and a second. Anything else? All right, don't forget to unmute. We'll take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye, Mayor, I've joined.
Thank you. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. For the record, Ms. Elmore's with us, and Mr. Jones has also made it in, so the full council. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Rodon, you got anything else for us?
No, we're just getting ready to start putting up Christmas lights,
All right.
and we'll be here in a couple of weeks.
So you're
Okay.
going to start in a couple of weeks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next on the list, community center report. Mike Brown, you get the floor, sir. Don't forget to unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. For October events, our member of the month is Miss Vicky Scroggins. She comes in every day and swims, and she hadn't missed since we opened back up from COVID. Memo Van, November the 17th, and if you hadn't registered, it's still not too late, but you've got to be registered through them to get the service. My action item tonight is the pool pack, something that we desperately need. I can't afford to go through a winter without getting this thing replaced. We started on it the first of the year, then COVID hit and we backed off, and a couple other things, and finally got some solid numbers. What I've got is I actually got 3 bids, but the 2 bids were from Harrison Energy Partners and Lone Oak Service Company. And these are both vetted through the procurement system and can go with either one. But one is $265,784, which is Harrison Energy Partners. Lone Oak Service Company is $284,266. Lone Oak Service Company is a local guy. The difference is $18,500, $18,481. So it's kind of hard, turning down the lowest at 265, 784. So maybe, y'all can give me some guidance on which one I should go with. but I need to get this thing going and installed before winter hits. Any comments?
Hey, Mike, I show a difference of 12/8/1650. After you add in the 5 years, they both offer the 5-year warranty.
Well, yeah, we can take the 5-year warranty, but I didn't add them into the total cost. The first year is going to be pretty much a given. They'll take everything that first year.
Are you saying you don't need the warranty? I mean, the coverage?
That's the warranty will be good, but right now Russell's got our service contract, and if we continue with that, that would probably kick over into the contract, depending on what we do with it.
Okay.
So, Mike, Suzette, I've got a question. Can you tell us maybe some history with the local company and what advantages that may have?
Well, right now, Lone Oak Service Company is our service provider. They've been there for 7, 8, 9 years now. They take care of all of our equipment, and we pay them per month. I think it's a little over $1,500 a month for that. I hadn't had any problems with them, so they're a good company.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
I know that local service is really good. Having the nursing home over here in Lone Oak, getting the people out of Little Rock was always a hassle. I know that's probably made things easier for y'all to operate there, having that type of service.
Mm-hmm.
Agree, Coy. I prefer to spend a few extra dollars and buy local.
I agree with you, Michael. I think it's good to support the local and someone that's a few blocks away versus someone out of town, especially if they're like on a 24-hour standby to service, which I'm assuming, Mike, would they come any hour of the night or day to service? Lone Oak Service Company?
Yes, ma'am. He came many Sundays when we had problems. We've had meetings and parties and air was out, or during the basketball games when the heat was out, we'd call them and they'd show up.
So obviously there's some value not only to providing the service locally, but to have that opportunity to get a quick service, especially when you've got a crowd there.
So I'm just, like I said, I know Harrison, they just put the pool pack over in Cabot, and they put the pool pack in Jacksonville. So I think either company are good reputable firms, and it's like I say, I'm kind of torn. 18,000 is 18,000. So, but whatever y'all recommend, I'm ready to do.
Mike, briefly looking through this, it looks like there's a 12-month warranty just out the chute on Harrison, and the one from Lone Oak Service Company says 2 years. So already it's another year on the standard warranty with that particular unit as well.
Oh.
If I'm reading it right, just real quick here.
I have a question about the one from Lone Oak Service Company. Includes the tax for that $284,266, but there's no figure for what the tax will be from Harrison. Do we have that?
Well, I added 10.5%, and it came out to Let me find my paper. It came out to the total I gave you.
Yeah,
Which,
265 is the total.
259?
Yeah. 265,784. That's with the 10.5% tax added.
Okay, thank you.
That's without the 5-year service plan.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they service warranty is outside of these numbers.
I move we go with Lone Oak Service Company, considering all the things we've mentioned just now for the price listed on here.
And they a longer warranty too, I think, with Lone Oak, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, another year warranty and the benefits of having local and someone familiar with the place that's already there every month, and or available every month anyway.
I've got a motion to go with Lone Oak Service Company to replace the pool pack for $284,266.22. Do I have a second?
I seconded.
All right.
Suzette.
Motion by Matt Cordell, seconded by Suzette Elmore. Any discussion? Any comments? Any questions? All right, then we'll take it to a vote. Don't forget to unmute yourself. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the motion carries.
That's all I've got, Mayor.
All right, thank you, Mike. Appreciate you. Mike, did they allude as to how quick we can get started on this? I think September was when we wanted to be on it, but
Right. First thing in the morning, I'll be on them. We need to get this going real quick.
okay. All right. Well, thank you. All right. Just give you guys a brief update. I've already let the council know that Dan Sandler is not with us. We have already gone through our first round of interviews. We've got two very good prospects, and I'll keep you guys informed. Hopefully have somebody on staff by December City Council. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to come by City Hall. I'd be glad to talk to you about that. All right. Chief Wittenberg.
Good evening.
Up next. You got it.
First up is my monthly report. Looks like we had 31 calls for the month, 12 EMS, 19 fire-related calls. We were on scene for 16 hours and 54 minutes, an average attendance of 4.13. Any questions over that? All right, I have 2 items for your decisions tonight. First up is radios. I know these radios cost a lot more than you were expecting. The PD radios are different than these. These radios are fire department radios. They heat resistant, water resistant, and they actually will talk on 2 different bands. So our radio system's complicated. Some fire departments doesn't have the radios we have. This one will actually talk to them too. So this is a state bid. That's why you only have one proposal in front of you. It's for $14,247.08, and it's from Arkansas Valley Communications.
Is there tax and shipping on top of that charge?
I don't know. I would say this would be the price, because she doesn't even allude to putting that on here.
Okay.
All right. So any other questions for Chief Wittenberg?
Make a motion, we buy the radios.
I'm sorry. I do have a question. What is the company that we are buying this from?
It should be Arkansas Valley Communications, unless they're coming straight from Motorola. I'm looking. I don't know why it's not on here, but it's Arkansas Valley Communications is where I'm getting them from.
All right. Thank you.
I'd probably also recommend, Justin, not knowing if that does or doesn't have tax on top of it, to approve the cost with, okay, Regina's shaking her head, it does not. So we need to get a motion to approve that price to include the tax.
So moved, Michael.
Second, Alice.
Okay, that's a motion to by Michael Florence and second by Alice Bridges to approve the bid $14,247.08 to include tax. Okay,
Mayor, the volunteer fire department doesn't pay tax.
good. All right, then
They're
it's not,
tax exempt.
no, it's not a requirement then. All right, so what you see is what you get: $14,247.08.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All right, again, please don't forget to unmute. Take it to a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
All right, the next item I have for you is for some foam. We ran out of foam this year, and I've got some money left over in my budget, and I would like to go ahead and get some foam before the end of the year. We have a quote from EVS. This is where we get our foam from for $2,256. It does not have tax, or it shouldn't have tax on it, but it does not have shipping on it. So I would ask for that. I'm going to go get it, but I don't know if they're going to charge shipping to the store.
I make a motion to accept to go get the phone plus the shipping cost.
Second, Coy Butler.
All right, motion's made by Ephraim Jones and seconded by Coy Butler. Any questions or comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 And any opposed? All right, motion carries. Moving on. Anything else for us?
No, sir. Thank y'all.
No, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Jim Kelly, Public Works. You get the floor.
All right, can you hear me, Mayor?
Yep, got you loud.
All right, first off is my monthly report. We do have an increased water loss this month, and most of that can be attributed to pressurizing of the new water lines and flushing for back tees. And so I anticipate that's probably going to go down. We'll probably have a couple months of a higher water loss there. Everything else on the report is pretty standard. I do have an action item tonight, and that is for a John Deere backhoe. It's a 310L, and this is a Sourcewell contract. Through Sourcewell, we're getting 46% discount on it. So originally it's a $158,000 machine that we'll be paying $86,547.89 for. And that includes a 12-month warranty. It's pretty much the equivalent of the backhoe that we currently have.
Any questions for Jim? Then if I don't have any questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Sourcewell purchase.
Move to proceed with the purchase as listed in the invoice.
All right, we got a motion by Matt Cordell. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, motion by Matt Cordell, seconded by Coy Butler. Any questions, comments, or concerns? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Jim, you got anything else for us?
Just no, that's pretty much it. Unless anybody has any questions about water, sewer, street.
All right, thanks, Jim. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Chief Edwards.
Good evening, everybody. In front of you is the monthly report for October. We've had 226 complaints or dispatched calls through the month. 142 of those were actual 911 calls. Go further down, $1,020, and we billed to probation and parole $5,340 for a total of $6,000 $360. Anybody has any questions about the monthly report? Okay, I do have one action item on the list tonight.
Chief, this
Yes.
is Ryan. I'm sorry. I do have a question about the just the tickets. There's looks to be a lot of DUIs and DWIs across all the wards, more so than normal. Is there an event or something that you would attribute that to, or is it? And that's not empirical. I might just be misjudging.
No, there's nothing that showed that there was anything involving that. It was just officers doing the routine patrolling and locating people who are intoxicated.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? All right. I have we've had this 2000, I'm sorry, our K9 Tahoe we've been having issues with this year in reference to heat and air. I've had it looked at several times. It's been fixed and it still is not working properly. It's due to the dog hair getting up underneath the dash, sucking up. We're trying to do the best that we can to maintenance this vehicle. I've spent over $1,000 trying to get the issue fixed, but now that the heater is not working properly, and heat and air in a K9 vehicle is very important to not only the driver but the K9. So I was planning on getting that Tahoe replaced next year, but it's where I'm to the point where I have to do some swapping over right now. And my goal and my plan is to take our 2017 Dodge Durango that is being utilized at the school for school resource and outfitting it for K9 use. In front of you, you've got 3 quotes, one from Von Kleinstein Working Dogs, one from Dana Safety Supply, and one from Arkansas Valley Communications. The one that I am particularly interested in is the one from Von Kleinstein Working Dogs. The reason is I've been getting a lot of good feedback from other agencies in reference to this equipment, this brand of equipment. I do have currently some of the other products that we are using, and we are having issues with that. The equipment includes from Von Kleinstein is the actual the kennel that covers the 3/4 of the back seat with a third for an inmate or transport. It includes the hot and pop temperature alarm and door opening systems, horn activation, siren activation, and light activation with dual window drop. And that basically is a safety feature. If it gets too hot inside the vehicle, the siren will alert, the horn will activate to let the officer know that it's getting too hot, and the windows will roll down automatically. It also comes with that system, a 1 door pop with a remote holster, which what it is a remote that will automatically open the door to the K9 kennel in case the officer is in distress and the K9 can assist him. It comes with a 10-inch fan to continuously move air through the kennel. It also comes with a guard there, and then also the no K9 left behind system. That is another feature if the officer is distracted, turns off the vehicle, and it's hot. As soon as it gets to, if that back door doesn't open or that K9 door doesn't open, it'll alert the officer that the dog is still in the kennel. That total quote with tax is $6,068.73. It's only $111.68 more than the lowest bid. and that is the bid that I'm requesting to get. Also, another thing is it'll come in approximately 4 weeks to arrive, and if I wait 4 weeks to arrive, then installation will be 1 or 2 days. The installer will come to Lone Oak and install that into the Durango. It's very important because right now we're having up and down temperatures at night, and my canine primarily works at night, and it doesn't have any heat. Sooner we get this in, sooner we get it installed, hopefully by the time really starts to get cold, it'll be installed. Right now, my canine officer is swapping from his vehicle to a vehicle that doesn't have a kennel, and he's not able to work the dog on those nights. So that's the quotes that I have. Does anybody have any questions?
Chief Edwards, I have one question. I noticed on 2 of the bids, they include a permanent water dish.
This one has one in it.
Okay. So it's just, they just didn't itemize it.
That is correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Chief, I have a question also. Is there some kind of filtration system we could put in the Durango that keeps the same thing from happening there?
I'm going to be looking into that. This Tahoe was a canine vehicle. I have been told it was a canine vehicle from a prior department as well. And I don't know how much collection how many years it's been collecting over, but that is something that I'm going to make sure that we continue on to monitor through the years, because I don't like having to emergently replace something because of dog hair. So I'm gonna be on top of that.
All right, thank you.
I we move forward with the bid from per Chief's request here. I'm having trouble with my
Lon Kleinstein.
Yes, with Lon Kleinstein. These dogs, the sooner the better you get it, safety reason, and it wasn't cheap. So the dogs themselves and all that. So we move forward with this one.
I second you, Matt. Corey Butler.
All right, motion by Matt Cordell, seconded by Corey Butler. Any other questions? Don't forget to unmute, please. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Chief, you got anything else for us?
I do not. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. All right, next on the budget is third quarter numbers. Phil.
I'll just cover a few key things. I guess generally my comment is that third quarter looks very good. And if you'll study those numbers and look at the various accounts that feed the income of those different departments, you'll see that things are in awfully good shape for the year. We've been nervous, of course, about COVID, and that is showing up some. One thing that's surprising, though, is if you look at that page of sales tax comparison for 2020, and actually that monthly average for city and county taxes off because it's divided by 9 months instead of 10, but it's still up. If you look at city tax, that average is still about 249 as opposed to 236 last year average. And then in the county tax, it's about 49 as compared to 44 average last month. So that's a surprising thing. I guess a function of people shopping at home. So that's a good thing. The A&P revenue is off some, as you would expect, as it comes from restaurants and motels. It's not off a big number, but $1,500 a month or so. So it's not oppressive, but it is something we expected to happen. As far as the other departments, I feel good about where everything is. We will begin our preparation for next year's budget. At the end of next week, next week we'll start. The Budget Finance Committee's been notified to attend those meetings. We did lose one member last year, and we have added Mr. Tom Klosky to our group for preparation of next year's budget. So if you have any items you're concerned about in any of the departments, and I know some of you do from last year that I promised we would address this year, we will address those. But if you have other items that you're interested in, you know, the ones I can think of that we promised we would address this year were animal shelter and the library. And if you have others, please let us know. Thanks.
Any questions for Mr. Howell?
When will the budget committee be meeting?
I believe that's the 12th, isn't it, Regina? The first meeting. I think that's right. I have to go back. I can.
It's 12.
Okay.
And it's at schedule at 6 p.m.
Yes, I believe that's right. I'm not looking at it, but I think that's right.
Anything else? All right, no motions needed for that. Thanks, Philip. Appreciate it. All right. Next on the agenda is old business. Last City Council made a decision to move forward with Green Environmental Services of Arkansas for our waste management contractor. And what you guys have in your packet is the contract that has been presented and vetted through Ginger. So in sum, they will be providing weekly trash services and a twice a month recycling program. Every resident will get a 96-gallon bin with an option of purchasing a second bin for $6 additional per month. You will also receive a 18-gallon recycling bin, and there will be no cost for an additional recycling bin if you want to call the water department and ask for that. The contract kind of summarizes holiday pickup, Christmas pickup, and some other things. So do you guys have any questions? Mr. Rathburn is actually with us in the room. Do you guys have any questions about the contract? If you don't have any questions, then I'll take a motion to approve. Sorry, that's ordinance 772. I'll take a motion to put ordinance 772 on the floor.
So moved, Coy Butler.
Second, Alice.
Okay, motion is made by Coy Butler, seconded by Alice Bridges.
Ordinance number 772, an ordinance granting the sole and exclusive franchise license and privilege to Green Environmental Services of Arkansas, LLC, to provide solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city of Lone Oak, Arkansas. Whereas the city of Lone Oak, Arkansas, the city, it advertised and received bids for the performance of solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city. And whereas Green Environmental Services of Arkansas, LLC, GESAR, submitted the lowest responsible bid for the performance of solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city. And whereas the city council for the city recommended that the city accept GESAR's bid, and the mayor did follow the council's recommendation by awarding the sanitation contract to GESAR. And whereas it's the desire of the city council to grant the exclusive franchise license and privilege to GESAR to perform solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city pursuant to the specifications and terms and conditions of the documents provided to GESAR prior to submitting a bid. Therefore, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Lone Oak, Arkansas, number one, that Green Environmental Services of Arkansas, LLC is hereby granted and awarded the sole and exclusive franchise license and privilege as the lowest responsible bidder for the performance of solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city pursuant to the terms and conditions contained in the specifications and documents provided to GESAR prior to submitting a bid for the services. Number two, that a true and correct copy of these specifications and contract documents are attached hereto and incorporated herein by reference. Number three, that by the acceptance of the license and privilege and the actual performance of the solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city, GESAR and the city accepts and agrees to be bound by the terms of the specifications and contract documents attached hereto. Number four, that all other terms and conditions of the solid waste collection contract entered into between the city and the contractor shall remain in effect for and during the period hereby granted, unless specifically provided or otherwise herein.
Take a motion to take the first reading.
Motion to accept the first reading.
Second.
Motion by Alice Bridges, seconded by Suzette Elmore. Any objections? All right, motion is accepted. I'll take a motion to suspend the rules, second and third reading, title only.
So moved, Coy Butler.
Second, Cordell.
Motion by Coy Butler, seconded by Matt Cordell.
Ordinance number 772, an ordinance granting the sole and exclusive franchise license and privilege to Green Environmental Services of Arkansas, LLC, to provide solid waste and recycling collection and disposal services for the city of Lone Oak, Arkansas.
Motion to accept the second and third reading, title only.
So moved.
Butler, second, Coy Butler.
Okay, motion by Suzette Elmore, seconded by Coy Butler. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I'll take a motion to accept. No, motion to adopt is what I need.
So motion to adopt, Coy Butler.
Second, Ryan.
Motion is made by Coy Butler and seconded by Ryan Bos. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, ordinance 772 passes. No need for an emergency clause. Thank you, Ginger. All right, on to new business. Get this slide up. I'll stay behind the times on this presentation. All right, old business is taken care of. New business, we got 4 points of discussion. The first of which is an awning that the city hall has that is causing some considerable water. It's allowing a considerable amount of water to actually come in and run down the walls to the point that's, I don't say it's causing any flooding in the floors, but it's definitely backing up fairly heavy to the point that we've had to put a cone out and clean it up with some towels and stuff. So there's some very considerable amount of water making its way in from the backside of that awning into the water department and other parts of City Hall. And so we hired Fennell Purifoy to come check that out. And you guys have the report in your packets on what it would cost, how they would move forward, and what that would cost. Do you guys have any questions about that report? All right. If you don't, then I will entertain a motion to move forward. With the invoice as presented.
So move, Ephraim.
Second, Cordell.
All right, motion's made by Ephraim Jones, seconded by Matt Cordell. And that invoice total was $1,960 to fix that leak.
Question: will there be? Will we need a motion to actually proceed with the recommended repairs?
Yeah, I jumped ahead of that, Ryan. Thank you very much. That's not
okay.
prepared to be very clear. That is to accept
the invoice for the
invoice that Fennell Purifoy charges to check that out. So, yep. Sorry about that. Is that clear to the council? That's what we owe Fennell Purifoy for actually identifying the issue and looking into it for us. Next, they will give us a scope of work to fix it. All right. So I'm going to ask for another motion, just to be clear on that.
Okay, what I need to do, redo my motion?
Just give me another motion to make sure it's clear that this is not for the fix. This is for them having come and checked out the water.
Okay, I make that motion as fixed.
All right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thanks. Motion by Ephraim Jones, seconded by Matt Cordell. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, next on the list is the McKinstry IGA proposal. All right, just to give a brief summary. You guys know we started walking down this energy contract road about a year ago. We invited some companies into the house to have a few working sessions on what an energy service contract was, and to help us understand how we could be better stewards of the energy that we're spending. And the city spends approximately $200,000 to $220,000 a year, about $215,000 to be exact, on our energy costs. And so we've looked for a company to partner with that can help us lower those costs and then offset the remainder with the solar system. And so we had a few working sessions, like I said, to learn about ESCOs. With the council's approval, we released an RFQ, and in June awarded the RFQ to McKinstry. And they have since conducted an investment grade audit, the findings of which were in your packet. All right. And as a summary, this is what they are proposing in terms of retrofitting it in and throughout city buildings to upgrade our energy efficiency and lower our consumption. All right, it's a bit of an eye chart, but to break it down for you, the facility improvement measures are described in the center column here. The categories on the left side, and then the buildings to which they apply are on the right. Skip and Jay, you guys are still with us, I think.
Yeah, we're here.
All right. So with you guys unmuted, I want to ask the council, are there any questions about this slide? The way you read this, they're proposing LED lighting upgrades, both interior and exterior, to move this around. Okay. All right. Well, we'll go back to that. Okay. All right. Sorry, council. Give me 1 second. That's okay. Okay. So do me a favor. Hold on to that. And then when we get to the end of the agenda, we'll come back to that. Okay. All right. Thanks. All right. Sorry, guys. So I was trying to explain what this table is actually showing us, and that's McKinstry's proposal to retrofit some of our HVAC systems, our lighting systems, our thermostat software to more efficient models, okay? Do you guys have any questions on this? Because the guys are in the room that can answer those.
Mr. Mayor, this is Ryan. So this is just the recommended upgrades based on the audit of our existing systems. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And so the strike through, for example, on the pool pack replacement, which we are undertaking based on our previous action in this meeting, was a recommended item or is not a recommended item?
It was initially a recommended item. And the committee that's been convening consistently, which is Bob Pack, Gib Richardson, Gene Eagle, Philip Howell, Jim Werdelak. We owe a lot of thanks to these guys. There's been,
right
off the top of my head, I want to say 3 or 4 meetings that we've hosted over the past few months to kind of refine the scope of work of what we want. And through that, McKinstry initially proposed a pool pack replacement. The committee made a decision that we could do it more effectively and efficiently here, keep it local potentially. And so that's exactly what we've done. And so that's why that has been struck out of this initial proposal.
Okay, so in that helps to clarify, I guess, this is work that McKinstry is proposing to be the service provider for. Like they're going to be the contractor to perform these upgrades. Is that the proposal?
They're going to outsource the work.
They'll bid it out as basically a construction manager on behalf of the city.
As I understand it, yes. And Jay, you guys are in the room. If I'm misspeaking, you feel free to clarify, but that's the way it's being proposed.
Yeah, we operate as a general contractor. We've bid these individual FIMs or improvement measures out locally, regionally, and nationally. And these are the ones that came back that are the most beneficial to the city of Lonoke as far as cost balance versus age and effectiveness of the equipment.
Okay, that makes sense. So in our packet, we have a request for proposal. That's your form to your subcontractors, is that correct? Or is this the form you're turning into the city with your bids? I guess I'm wondering.
Ryan, this is Jay. Yeah, this is Jay Holstead. That RFP you're looking at there is an actual RFP that was sent out to HVAC contractors to prepare a bid based on, an RFP, our scope of services that we understood for the systems. And of course, what you're looking at, there's the mechanical, the HVAC contractors. And as time went through this process, we were asked to submit or provide the RFP or the scope of work that we were requesting bids on from HVAC contractors. And we had a couple of them on there. You can see on the sheet, the add deduct or the alternate deduct, I should say, that shows who those two contractors were. One was providing the equipment, and they had a labor cost. The other one the same, but it was kind of it was a combination of, and I'll just be honest, it was Harrison Energy. What does the system cost? And then Powers of Arkansas provided a labor cost to do, and that's specifically to the pool pack. Now, we'd gotten, of course, bids from them for all the HVAC equipment and control upgrades, thermostats, all of that, and VFDs on pumps for the water systems. But I know it's a long answer to your short question, but what you're seeing there is not our proposal necessarily to the city, but what we received, because we would work on behalf of like a partner as an ESCO to oversee and manage this entire process, all the GCs and the vendors.
Okay, good. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate that. So it is a number, I guess all of these projects here on our screen that are listed under this, that are summarized in this spreadsheet are included in that bid form that y'all sent out to the HVAC subcontractor bidders. I think we're seeing that.
Well, of course, those systems that apply to the mechanical and some electrical, yes. Obviously, like the ground mounted PV, that wasn't something that our local HVAC guys were bidding, or lighting. We had lighting contractors that provided bids for that and the incentive documentation to go along with it, which there's incentives for the majority of what you see up here on the screen. The one exception I would say is the PV, the solar. There's no utility incentives from Entergy for that. But so anyway, we did get bids from multiple contractors on the majority of what you're seeing up here on the screen. The one exception, again, on that ground mount PV, we have national buying power. We've got costs associated with that and the execution of that, and we're doing a little more of a self-perform on that aspect of the project.
Okay, that makes sense. And not to belabor the point, but is the document in our packet, is it a companion to what we're seeing on the screen? In other words, if we're going to
So the document
based on,
the document that you had was based upon the original, like the mayor said, we originally had that included, those line items that you see redlined out were included in our original proposal at a higher price. And the city has chosen to go with a local contractor to do the pool pack. So we've essentially just removed that from the scope, and that's what you're seeing, how we came up with the deductive alternate to remove that money from the scope, basically justifying the cost of that pool pack removal. That's what those are for.
Okay, got it. So is there a bottom line number that we're looking at here? At 2 million?
So here, okay, so
Basically
that's the next slide,
2.1
right?
million.
So that's what
I apologize. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's what we want to go into. That's fine. Appreciate it. So the proposal that we've whittled down to is on the screen before you. That's a proposal for the full, essentially what they're calling full spectrum ESPC less the pool pack. Okay. And that's for, I believe, a 537 kilowatt system to include all the upgrades and retrofits that we just saw on this slide. Okay. All right. And that total cost of a project like that is $2.1 million. All right. Over a term of 18, just over 18 years. All right. And you guys had this in your packet. So I just wanted to kind of make clear the numbers that you should be looking for. So I've got 3 columns to the left, 4, 5, 6, and 7 on the right. If you drive down to 18 years and add up the 3 columns, 1, 2, and 3, right? Those are the projected annual savings from this project every single year from year 1 to 18. The annual payment from the city is in column 5, okay? And if you'll see, you add up 1, 2, and 3, it's the sum of column 5, which means the money that we're saving is equal to the money that we're paying out for the first 18 years. So that was the goal of this project, is that the project itself would pay for itself with the savings that we're incurring. All right, and then you draw a line under 18 to the right, and you can see that after 18 years, the solar panels should begin generating a surplus for the city, and the lifespan of this solar system is approximately 25 to 35 years. Okay, and if we maintain them, we take good care of them, hopefully we'll get 25 to at least a good 30 years out of them. Right, and then that's what you're looking at in columns 6 and 7. If we were to just squeeze all the life out of a system like this in 35 years, you'd have $3.6 million to the good. If you take an average lifespan, say, a little more conservative, at 25 years, the city in lump sum would have recouped approximately $1.3 million. And so that's how you interpret that cash flow projection. Are there any questions about that?
Right, would it most likely be more than that, as energy costs are probably going to be more expensive as we go forward, or is that figured into those numbers? Some kind of inflation or something, is that figured in?
Yes, we include I think it's a 2.2% inflation, but at the same time, we include a 0.5 degradation on the solar panels, because over time they slightly decrease in production. So it averages out to about a 1.7 escalation. That is conservative. It definitely could, rates could escalate way faster.
Right.
But history tells us that's conservative, and that's where we want to be. We don't want to put the city at any risk, and we are writing the financial guarantee on the utility savings as well. So we don't want to take that risk either. 2.2 is also what the Arkansas Energy Office recommends that we use. And then I guess the final thing is that this is a budget neutral project at 18.2 years. So.
All right. So I haven't gone through the numbers. The next steps for us as a council are to accept the proposal, negotiate a contract with McKinstry. We're gonna have to procure some property for this solar system. All right, and that conversation's been in the works already. And we've got a plot of land that's been kind of selected at approximately $10,000 to $12,000 an acre, and we need 4 acres. So we're looking at about $48,000 outside the scope of the numbers that we just talked about. And then after that, once we inside of a contract agreement with McKinstry, then we can implement the scope of work and start upgrading our energy systems and harvesting some sun.
Mayor, I'd like to just make sure a point that everybody knows is after the contract is executed between McKinstry and the city of Lone Oak, we will have to go through a financing ordinance, which takes about 30 days. So probably next council meeting or December, where that puts the financing portion in place. And just like the subcontract bids, we're going to help the city go out and solicit that to several different financial institutions to get the best interest rate we can possibly get, which drives, that matrix that we just looked at on the 18.2 years. So there will be one return to reading of an acceptance of an ordinance for the financing. It's just kind of the way that these programs are put together. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that.
We also, just to kind of re-summarize, we remember at the same time that we agreed to release an RFQ for these services, and we made the decision to move forward with this type of project. We also made a decision to hire Arkansas Office of Energy, Mr. Chet Howland, who has been a really good consultant for us. I think he's with us, but I don't want to speak for Chet, but I can tell you that he believes that we're in a good position to move forward. He's very satisfied with where we're at.
Yeah, I've been working with y'all for a little better part of a year, I think, at this point, Mayor, and I'm comfortable with the scope of the contract. I think the community committee convening those folks was a fantastic idea. I'm happy to entertain any questions the council might have. Certainly looking forward to, if you get to that point, negotiating the contract.
Thanks, Chet. So that's a lot of information. Hopefully it's digestible, and we've broken it up over, like Chet said, almost over the course of a year through working sessions and through committee meetings and keeping the council informed. Tonight, we need a motion to move forward with the IGA proposal.
Sounds like to me it's a no-brainer. It's going to pay for itself and save us money in the future. So I'll make a motion we proceed with it.
This is Ryan. I second that motion.
I've got a motion by Michael Florence and a second by Ryan Biles. Any further discussion, questions, or comments?
Just to clarify, there's not any proposed land acquisition in this motion. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question about the land. You said approximately $48,000. How would we pay for that?
I'll answer that if you want me to. What the thought is, Alice, is in the scope of what McKinstry did, they have, of course, identified savings in each department. Our thought would be to use those percentages, and each department contribute based on that percentage to the $48,000 or whatever the purchase price turns out to be. We're certainly going to try to do better than that, but that's where we have found something and what it's priced at the moment. So our thought would be to pay that in-house with a percentage to each department based on their anticipated savings.
Mr. Howell, I have a question. Suzette, can you disclose where the land is at this point?
Our best, I guess that's okay, Mayor. I mean, we have no agreement. It's just very much verbal at this point. But Mr. Kittler has said that he would sell us land adjacent to his array there east of town.
So would there be an advantage to be next to his solar array right now?
Somewhat, because of the reason his is where it is because of its being in the vicinity of the substation. So from that, yes.
Okay. So I'm just assuming you're going to run an appraisal on that land value.
We can. I don't think we have to. I know of 3 sales, similar type situations for either solar arrays or something similar in the last year that range from 10,000 to 12,000. So we can certainly have an appraisal done. It's not required.
So was that within the county or outside Lone Oak County?
1 in the county, 2 in Arkansas County.
Okay.
Phil,
I'm sure, I'm sure there were others. Those were just the 3 I was aware of.
Go ahead,
Hey,
Ryan.
Phil, this is Ryan. Yeah, so you talked about using realized savings from the departments to help finance the cost. And I know that's not necessarily germane to this motion, but since we're on this topic, those savings would be, again, outside of the projected savings that are part of this pro forma that's going into this formula. Is that correct?
No, but that would be based on the anticipated savings in those departments based on this proposal.
But it's not appearing as a line item in.
It is not. It would be outside of the project.
So it would change the way it amortizes a little bit, or no?
No, because we would pay for it up front.
There are savings above and beyond what we're seeing on this sheet.
Well,
okay, thank you. Thank you. I understand.
Now, to the conversation about where to locate the solar grid was pretty extensive in and amongst us. We looked at a few positions that the city owns that we might, a few options that we might take advantage of. One of which was the south part of the ballpark. It's got some issues because it's gotten some grant money that would require a reallocation of the purpose of that property in perpetuity to Parks and Recreation to another part of the city. And we also felt that the value of a softball field or an extra baseball field didn't justify, covering that up with a solar system. We get more use than $50,000 by just buying it outright somewhere else. And we've also got the property north of the Business and Education, north of the Business Academy and the post office there by Gunnebo, right? But not knowing its intended use in the future, if you put a 4-acre solar system on it, then that's going to predicate whatever future use the city has for that too. So that was a conversation that we had at length, and I think everybody on the committee was in agreement that the best thing to do would be to procure some property outside of what we already had available.
And again, we're not tied to this at this point. We will certainly make efforts to find the best spot for the best price. We're by no means locked into that situation at this point.
All right, Michael, I know you've made a motion. Did I have a second? I think I had a second by Matt Cordell. Can you verify that?
It was me.
Okay, so a motion made by Michael, seconded by Ryan Biles. Any other comments? Don't forget to unmute. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. All right, next one.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to thank the members, the citizens, members of the infrastructure committee who provided the guidance and the interaction with McKinstry on this. That's a lot of their time and expertise, and we owe them a lot of gratitude for their work on this project.
Yeah, Ryan, I appreciate it. They've put a lot of volunteer time into it, so it's a good project. I think there's going to be a huge benefit, huge payoff for the city in the future.
Mayor,
Yes.
I have a question going back to the Fennell Purifoy, where we voted to pay them for their assessment, but are we going to act on their recommendations?
Well, I'm going to come back to that. So and please forgive me, I just skipped over that. I actually skipped over something else too from Green. So they had a letter of request to use the ballpark. So if it's okay with you, Miss Alice, and everybody else on the council, we're just going to continue through the agenda here, finish the last 2 points, and before we get to the pay bills, and I'll come back to that, okay?
Okay.
All right, appreciate it. Yeah, I own that mistake. That was all on me tonight, so. All right, you guys have an accidental insurance protection policy by the Arkansas Municipal League, which, as I understand, is a standard renewal every single year. So, Regina, I'll be honest with you, you're better adept to speak to this if the council has any questions on it. I know it's something that we've been a part of, and it's part of our normal coverage every single year. So this is more of a renewal for accidental death and I believe dismemberment. Are there any questions about it? All right, if I don't have any questions, you guys have it in your packet. It's a one-page flyer with all the information. I'll take a motion to approve the policy renewal.
So moved. Suzette.
Second, Alice.
All right, motion is made by Suzette Elmore, seconded by Alice Bridges. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any objections? All right, motion passes. Thanks. All right, last point under new business is permission from the council to go ahead and budget $225 for employees who wish to participate in the family health care plan. Give you guys a little bit of background. I've watched, the police department manage a very tight budget for 2 years, and we've been looking for ways to incentivize our police officers. And one of the things that Matt brought to me was the ability for some of our officers in order to get some longevity out of them, we want to incentivize them with a family health care plan. And so we've come up with a way to hopefully provide some incentive for a young police officer to get in, be able to work for us for a few years. If they want to build a family, then we're going to give them some protection financially against, on a healthcare plan. So the way to do that was to pay approximately 50% of what we calculated was about $500 a month. And so we came up with $225. The reason we need to go ahead and pre-approve that is because of the process. So if any of our police officers, or not just police officers, it started with that department, and we've decided to offer it for fairness, honestly, to every department. And so Cindy sent out a tally, and I believe we had about 12 employees that gave us the thumbs up that if we did provide some 50% incentive, that they would enroll. But in order for them to be enrolled in the program in January, because as I understand it, there's only it's a periodic enrollment. The next time they have an opportunity to enroll, maybe middle of next year or at the end of next year. So for any who want to participate in this program, they're going to have to get enrolled before the beginning of the year. So that's why we're having to ask. I'm asking the council to pre-approve it for next year's budget.
If I may ask on this, have you spoken with the municipal league about this? Because you're essentially providing a benefit to those that are married that you're not providing to those that are single or who don't have families on that family plan. Although I can understand why we would want to help the police officers out with that. I mean, that's a $2,700 benefit per year that you're providing to people just because they have families. Has the municipal league cleared this as being a permissible use of funds that essentially discriminates against people that don't have families?
Well, I'll be honest with you, Ginger, I don't think we did take this to the municipal league. So I don't have a problem vetting it through them and getting their opinion on it.
I mean, $2,700 a year is a pretty substantial difference in treatment of married people or people with families versus people that don't have families.
Okay.
That's a good point, Ginger. I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, there definitely could be issues without some type of thumbs up from some smarter minds than ours.
Yes, thank you for
Maybe,
bringing that up.
maybe
Jen.
just offer that discount to employees or individuals.
Or single parents with children.
Well, single parents with children would be able to use the benefit because they would have the family plan. I mean, this truly discriminates, may not be the right word, but treats differently single people that are on the payroll versus people with families. I understand why we'd want to do it, and I believe our police officers should be paid more or receive more benefits. I'm just not sure this is the way to do it, given that it creates that difference in benefits that's really not based on any qualifications or something like that.
Okay.
And that being said, we'd have to rethink the numbers too and make sure we're good with that if we were to offer it to all employees.
And is this all full-time employees or only full-time employees who work for the police department?
No, all full-time employees.
Then that's a whole lot of money. I mean, $2,700 per person per year.
Well, that's why we looked at who would participate, and like I said, we had 12 that gave us a thumbs up that if we offered it, that they would buy in. And instead of offering 50%, there's no way to kind of budget 50% of someone's healthcare plan. We went with a flat rate, $225. And if we have a defined number of employees at $225 per year, then that gives us a solid number to go into it next year's budget with. But I don't know
offhand how many full-time employees we have total.
That'd be a question for Cindy. If you're looking for
also, if there's 12 now in 2022 or whatever, and that happens, that 12 turns into 25, then we need to be ready for whatever.
It adds up quickly. I mean, I just know in my personal experience, most insurance plans disincentivize you having a family plan. So like, for instance, my husband and I each have our own separate plans that are paid through employers. Because the employer doesn't want to pay for families on there because it discriminates against those that don't have families.
fair point. And I did not look into that. So I'll be happy to table it and bring it back to you guys in December. Cindy, Regina, if we come back in December with a different plan and something that the council can digest and approve, is there still enough time for our employees to be able to participate before next year?
I don't know if we'll make the deadline for enrollment.
Okay.
We do know that on the forms we get from Municipal League, they ask us how much percentage the city pays towards family coverage. It's an option. We've just never done it.
And Regina, has other cities, I mean, even the city that you worked in before here, did they not pay
They
a
paid
percentage of family coverage?
Family coverage at one point. So, but
Well, I think Ginger's got a fair point. I would feel much better having vetted it through the Municipal League. I didn't, and I should have. So let me do that. And if it looks like our back's up against the wall with the timeline and the council's okay, then we'll host a special session for this particular topic.
Can a motion not be made that if municipal signs off on this, that we go ahead with it? If not, then
we won't.
I'd rather have a special meeting after they make their decision.
I'm like I said, the form that I have to do every quarter, it says percent of premiums paid by employer. Municipal Health Benefit Fund requires a participating employer pay at least 50% of costs for employee only coverage. And it says employee, what percentage, and family, what percentage. And that's on my form.
Then it's kind of backwards logic, but what Cindy's reading makes me think that maybe it is permissible
but we need to really consider whether it's wise to do that, because, you know, if I'm a single person without insurance, I'm wondering why I'm making $2,700 less a year in benefits than someone who has a family.
And the other thing is, if we're paying half of their premium, wouldn't we logically have to pay a percentage of the single employees?
The city already pays employee coverage.
We pay
Oh, it does?
100% of employees
100%.
already.
Okay.
Right. Just my point is, you're treating married people with families differently than people that are single for no reason that really makes sense to the single person. Whether it's legal or not is one question, but then second, whether it's ethical or not, or appropriate or not, is the second question that needs to be considered.
Okay. Well, it's
so to be clear, all coverage is fully covered for the employee already. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Employees and elected officials, the city pays the single coverage.
for the employee only. The family's not covered, which is
Right,
where
employee.
the opportunity for them to engage is at. And we've, you know, potentially lost police officers before because other departments are offering more incentives and benefits. And so that's kind of how this conversation started. What can we provide them outside of their job satisfaction and your monthly pay? So here's what I'll do. I'll get with Cindy and Regina, and we will submit our question through the Municipal League. And as soon as we get a response back, I'll contact the council. I think this is something that would justify a special session. It wouldn't take very long, and we can bring the information forward, and you guys can make a decision on that. Does that sound okay by everybody?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I'm going to go back to 2 points. The first of which was Green Environmental, and I should have caught this. This was a letter that they submitted for support from the city to use a portion of our baseball ballpark to assemble the trash bins. I didn't want to just give them the go ahead and say yes, that's okay, because I don't know what that looks like. They're bringing in, hundreds, 1,400 different trash cans, and they need some space to assemble that so that they don't have to make, multiple runs back and forth from where they're headquartered. And they submitted a letter requesting that particularly. I'm looking for it right now. I don't know what page it's on. If anybody's got that, feel free to call it out. Nobody? All right.
I've got the paper version of it if you want to just read it. I don't know what electronic number it is though.
It's page 161 of the PDF.
161.
I'm looking at 172 on the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, mine's 172.
Well, the point of which was to reference it so that if you guys had any questions on what they were asking, we could get those answered. Wayne's still in the chat forum with us. But if you guys don't have any questions and there are no objectives, pretty much he's just looking for some space, and he'll be done. I think the letter says no later than the first week of January, because the trash bins are supposed to be hitting every address the first week of January. So they'll be putting them together. They just need a staging dock is really what he's asking for. Talked to Roy Don. There's really no conflict at the ballpark right now. The only issue would be who takes liability, and I've made that clear with Wayne that the city is not going to be responsible for anything that any trash bins that are missing or any theft that might occur. If you guys have any questions about that, then I'll take a motion to approve the space at the ballpark for Green Environmental.
So
Move to
moved.
allow Green, yeah. Second, Cordell.
All right, motion's by Coy Butler, seconded by Matt Cordell. Any questions? All right. Don't forget to unmute. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed to that? All right. Appreciate it. All right, the last thing, Miss Alice, you brought that up, as did Regina, so thank you guys, was to, I want to say approve the scope of Fennell Purifoy. And I'm jumping around in my packet again right now looking for it. I just missed that. All right, so, and somebody correct me if I'm not clear about this, but we've already made the motion to approve the invoice that's due now, which was $1,960. And now we need a motion to move forward with their proposal.
Just to be clear, we're moving forward in order to get bids to fix all the
Correct,
things.
Coy. Yeah, Coy's correct.
All right. So moved. Coy Butler.
Second, Ryan.
Thank you. Motion's made by Coy Butler, seconded by Ryan. Files, any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? And that motion passes. All right, Regina, are there any other thing on the agenda that I might have skipped over? All right, I must have gone to my safe space for a moment there. All right, that's all that we have under old and new business. I'll take a motion to approve the bills.
So moved. Cordell.
Second.
Motion by Matt Cordell, seconded by Coy Butler. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, bills are paid. Are there any announcements from the council? I'm going to make one, just some clarification on the RDOT letter that we sent out. We are tentatively scheduled to see a new overpass on Highway 31 North in the next fiscal year 21-22 timeframe. And we've had a meeting with our District 6 engineer, Mr. Mark Headley, had a fantastic conversation with him, and we expressed a strong desire to include pedestrian space across that, because every single day you might find somebody walking to and from Walmart or north of 40. And it's dangerous. There's not a lot of space for pedestrians to walk across that bridge right now. And so we're asking them to make that a consideration, or at least to open it up for public comment so that we can, as a community, weigh in on whether we think that there should be pedestrian access across that bridge or not. And so that's the letter that I've drafted, requesting y'all support through signature so that we can get that to RDOT, and that could be a consideration on that project.
That's awesome. We definitely need that.
I agree, Mr. Mayor. Quite often I see people walking across that overpass, something we don't expect, when driving up that overpass, but that's a great idea for their protection.
And we don't know what the expansion is going to look like in the next 7 or 10 years. And there might be a need for increased vehicular traffic across that bridge. And there's already a need to be met with pedestrian traffic. And so all we're asking is for them to at least include that in the design of the bridge.
All right, Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, a brief announcement just related to that is that the grant that Lone Oak has received from Winrock and UAMS will go to creation of the pedestrian and bicycle master plan, which is being produced by Craft and Toll engineers. So this will be included on there, which will give us increased documentation when we go to have these conversations over the next year or two with RDOT.
All right. Well, guys, that's all I've got. I really appreciate your work. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second, Coy Butler.
Motion's made and seconded. Any objections? All right. Guys, have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.